Well, hello peeps, it's the Hillbilly Halfwit. A few days after the London protest, and I told you all I'd say something about it, and I am. Well done to you all that went there. Like I say all the time, I've seen it all before. I'm 51-year-old, seen all this happen multiple times. Protests do nothing. But all the people go there, I can see where you go there and do it. Really have a lot of respect for you going there and trying your best, but these people don't respect us. You need to understand this government has made a decision based on a class war thing, and they want to split the cities and the countryside to make themselves look quite good in the cities. That's what it's all about. They want to use the wealthier farmers to paint everybody else with the same brush. That's what's going on. And if you don't know that, you're in cloud cuckoo land. Now, being a guy like myself, I'm old enough and I've realised I don't give a toss what anybody thinks of me. So I just say things as they are. It doesn't bother me if you get upset because people need to hear the truth. Now, this is the truth. You went there. You did your thing, which was fantastic. I applaud you all for it. But they did like exactly what happened in Cardiff last year. They laughed out the windows at you. And there's nothing, absolutely nothing has changed. That is the reality. That's what happened in Cardiff in Wales last year before the election. The same thing happened. They laughed at him out the window, even though all the people went there for good reasons. They couldn't even be bothered to come out and talk to him because the decision has been made. And NFU, even though they're good meaning, they laugh at the NFU because the NFU has got any stick behind it. That is the thing. Now, it's up to all you farmers and all you people, all you farming leaders out there. I know people don't like me saying anything about this, but all the NFU leaders have got to decide what they're up to now. So either you carry on doing stuff with no stick attached, or you just carry on and they keep laughing. It's simple as that. In my opinion, if you carry on like this, it's going to be 5 years more of this inheritance things. It comes in 18 months, I think. There's going to be more people committing suicide before this time runs out. More farmers. Nothing is going to change. There'll be people brought into this. And the only way to do anything about it is to get another party in. Now in Wales, possibly that is an option now, to be fair. I think UKIP are ahead of Labour in Wales, so that is possibly an option. But that's a long way yet. So the farming community's got a big decision to make now. It either starts to go and do things like the French do, non-violent, of course, or it continues doing the things it was doing the other day, which won't make any difference whatsoever, because these people are fanatics. They're political fanatics. You need to realise that. That's the only way you can look at it. And like I said, the trouble with being a guy like myself who speaks the truth, it offends people. They don't like it because that is the truth. That is the truth of the matter. Now, any other union, on anything, if they took 20% of the people's wages, would all be out on a national strike. That is a fact. This government has rocked up, lied to our union before the election, and before it says anything, I pay all my dues into the farming unions of Wales. I kept my dad's payments all up, so before he says I don't pay into it. And I also have National Farmers Union insurance on everything, so I pay it plenty, thank you very much. So before this, the Labour government lied to the farming unions, all of them, and then the unions went on their side and helped them to get in to power And now, after they're in power, they've decided to go back on everything that they said they were going to do. And there's still no national farmers' strike. Why am I the only one to say this? Why am I the only one to say this? Can you imagine that happening with any other union? It's fucking obvious. It's absolutely obvious what to do. The public are with us, and if you upset some of them, they're never going to be on our side anyway. You have to remember, lots of the public that you're afraid of losing, lots of them aren't on our side anyway, because they do not understand that they need a farmer to live. It's gone whoosh, straight over their heads. They think it's more important to be this right-on person instead of eating 3 times a day. So maybe this will upset a few again, I don't know. But like I said, I don't care. Because the truth always upsets people. Now, if you go back and look at my previous videos these last couple of weeks, one of them, I said what will happen with this march. And it has. Every word I said has happened. The people will go there out of good intentions. They took time out of their work when they didn't have the time. They've gone there. These people have basically looked out the window and gone like that to you. GB News has took a bit of notice. The other press is all on their side. Because I was listening here at home on the radio. I listened to Radio 5 Live, Radio 4. They were all against farming community. You can tell because they had their talking points given to them for that day. And the only way to beat them is direct action, and they can't get prepared for all this stuff. Don't bother with London. Forget London. That's a waste of time. You're in the enemy's area then. They've got it all sussed. You can't even live stream from a march in London because they have blockers up there. So here's the fact of what is going on with this Labour government, if people don't know. The budget has just happened, and they said they want a no-growth budget. That's what I remember hearing. So when the Great Britain became great during the Industrial Revolution, we had massive growth that brought money in on a huge industrial scale, and we became wealthy. Now, what they're doing now is they're trying to deindustrialise the UK for net zero, and they're trying to reverse that process and move all the deindustrialisation out of the UK, including farming. So what does that do? Instead of bringing money in, it takes money out. That's what's going on. Wake up, people. They have decided to deindustrialise the countryside to meet net zero targets. That's what is happening. They don't care if you've got a farm and you're going to have to sell 20% of it to pay it. They're happy because that goes to somebody who will stick something up for their side. That's all they're interested in. Nothing else. Net zero is all they're interested in. WEF. That is it. Now, when you finally get that into your head, you can understand what's going on. They have got the people in a mood, the wealthy people in a mood that they want to get in the mood. Now they're going to paint everybody in the whole farming system as that person. That's what they're trying to do. Well, these protests that happened in Wales about a week ago was totally different because they saw the real people there. Now that should be an example for everybody in the UK. Just rock up. Don't give them much notice at places they don't want you to be. Don't commit any violent acts or anything. Just be there. Be a nuisance. Be a pain in their arse. And when they want to go on there to do something for their political thing, you just be there and be a pain in their arse and make the media look at it. That's the only way to win, in my opinion. But I think farmers feed you, politicians bleed you. Now, that's my thoughts on this subject. Now, our country is in a really crappy state at the moment. I was looking at some figures the other day, and during Thatcher's time, we were borrowing 30 to 35% of gross domestic product. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to stick up for anybody, but there was a difference in our country then. We only had 30,000 migrants coming in a year. So rock on a bit then to Mr. Blair and Gordon Brown, and we had a financial collapse then, if you don't remember that. And then they bailed out the banks, and then it rocked up to 60% of GDP. Okay? So we were paying 60% of GDP, that's what we were paying on our borrowing to keep the country going. We carried on then. Now, after a Conservative government, we were after COVID, and lots of us didn't want everybody to go into lockdowns. They just wanted to help the elderly and the people who were in trouble, but everybody wanted to go into lockdown. That thing sent us into 100% of GDP. Okay? So everything we make in a year goes to paying our debt in the UK. So now Labour have rocked up with no money, and they have put us into 120% of GDP. And their whole objective is to meet net zero, and that's going to deindustrialise us and make it worse. Why can't people understand this? I don't understand how you can't see it all. When most people go into debt, they have to work harder to get out of it, and this government is doing the opposite to get to the net zero targets. So farmers have got a big thing here. They've got to wake up. Unions have got to wake up. They've got to start using the stick. Or you've got to start waiting for 5 years for somebody else to go into power. And it's not necessarily going to be changed. So that's Gazza's thoughts on it all. People got really upset last time. I don't care. Lots of people are in unreality. They're in this place where they're afraid to say the truth and say what is really happening in the UK. And I'm not like that. I will be perfectly fine to you if I meet you tomorrow or today or in an hour, but I'll still tell you the truth if you're my friend or foe. And lots of older people are like that. So that's my thoughts on the subject. Perhaps you watched this, perhaps you didn't. It doesn't really bother me. But there's lots of farming families and lots of people going to be in big trouble here for the next 2 years. So you've got to decide what you're going to do. Direct action or same action that everybody ignores. So remember, 2 times in the UK that things have worked. Poll tax strikes, that worked, that changed things within a week. And the fuel strikes, that changed things within a week. All the other things in between, all these protests and marches didn't do jack. Nothing. So there you are, okay? Please subscribe under here for real talk of a guy who doesn't really care if you like him or not. Ta-da.